Selamat. Beberapa jam setelah gencatan senjata Iran-Israel, Iran kembali membombardir Israel. Dan kini, selepas keberanian Iran menyerang Amerika dan Israel, Amerika dengan sekutunya Nato menjadi tercerai-berai.
These strikes are not legal, but I believe in territorial integrity and the sovereignty of peoples. So I believe that if there is to be a regime change in Iran, that should be...
This is not NATO territory. This is not NATO responsibility.
Ya, NATO terlihat meninggalkan Amerika. Presiden Prancis, Macron, secara mengejutkan telah mengutuk serangan Amerika pada Iran, dan juga NATO telah berbicara, ini bukan tanggung jawab kami.
Légitimité à neutraliser des structures.
When it comes to neutralizing nuclear structures in Iran, given what our purpose are, there is nothing illegal.
De l'égalité à ses frappes.
There is no.
Même si la France partage l'objectif de ne pas voir.
These strikes
nous
are not
considérons avec
legal, but we consider
que c'est par la voie diplomatique et technique
that we know what our purpose is, but we consider that the way to deal with that is diplomacy. And sometimes we are being blamed for being inefficient. But when you remain constant, you can be efficient. I remember the work undertaken in 2015, and France contributed to strengthening the JCPOA. And some of these mechanisms are still on the table, including the snapback. The United States decided 3 years down the road to walk away from the JCPOA. France regretted it, and I've been constantly fighting to reorganize, to open up this framework. But given that this framework was no longer in place, it was more difficult to monitor the Iranian program. And we continue to believe that it is thanks to the negotiations and by committing to negotiations that we can succeed. Your second question?
C'était le changement de régime. Je suis constant et je l'ai toujours dit.
Like I always said and will always do, I believe in territorial integrity and the sovereignty of peoples. I believe this applies to Ukraine, and we all do, given that we're defending Ukraine, so it applies all around the world and there are no double standards. And the Europeans, because they defend the universal international law, are committed to defending it everywhere and anywhere. So I don't think we can act on behalf of, instead of the people, to topple a regime. And when I look at what happened in history, every time we made such a decision, no matter the legitimacy of the initial decision, and sometimes they were legitimate, mistakes were made, if not faults, and it never brought about some better situation. I have spoken to all of the leaders of the region yesterday, and none of them was reassured by what was going on. So I believe that if there is to be a regime change in Iran, that should be the initiative of the Iranian people and no one else.
Do you see any scenario where France can be pulled into this conflict, either if it's through NATO solidarity or outside of NATO? And the same question goes for you, Mr. Sturla. Do you see any possibility that Norway can be pulled into this conflict? And also, it would be nice if you could clarify your position on international law and the breach of international law. Thank you.
Well, I think the French president gave an answer which I could follow. I think international law has some clear principles on the use of force. It can be granted by the Security Council, or it can be in pure self-defense. So I think that speaks that this is in itself outside the realm of international law. At the same time, Iran has a nuclear program that creates great concern. I can appreciate that. But on that specific question, I think this is my answer. This is not NATO territory. This is not NATO responsibility.
Wah, luar biasa ya. Keberanian dan kehebatan Iran kini telah membuat Amerika gigit jari juga. Bahkan kini NATO juga sampai tidak mau ikut campur karena mereka berpikir dua kali untuk melawan Iran. Ya, jadi ini info update untuk tanah air. Bagaimana pendapatnya menurut teman-teman? Oke, jadi itulah info update untuk tanah air. Oke, masih banyak menonton, jangan lupa untuk bantu di like dan di share video ini. Jangan lupa juga bantu untuk subscribe ya. Oke, stay tune at my channel. See you next video.